أعوذ بالله السميع العليم من الشيطان اللعين الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على محمد وآله الطاهرين، لا سيما بقية الله الحجة ابن الحسن فداه أرواح العالمين، واللعن الدائم على أعدائهم أبد العابدين ودهر الداهرين. اللهم كل وليك الحجة ابن الحسن صلواتك عليه وعلى آبائه في هذه الساعة وفي كل ساعة، وليا وحافظا وقائدا وناصرا ودليلا وعينا حتى تسكنه أرضك طوعا وتمتعه فيها طويلا. قال الله العظيم في كتابه وأوفوا بالعقود. So we talked about trading and the difference between trading and usury. I was intending to talk more about usury because Allah mentioned usury in too many verses, but then I saw probably we should move to another topic so we can make most of our times. So what is the difference between trading and lending, which is important as well? So trading like bay', selling and buying, and lending like ijara, renting and etc. To be honest, I've listened to some lessons before that, lessons of Ayatollah al-Udma Sayyid Muhammad al-Ruhani, which he was very, very accurate person. He was bringing opinions of scholars, great scholars, and arguing those opinions. What is the spirit of lending? Some say, okay, the spirit of lending is to buy. To buy what? To buy the benefit of something. So I don't buy the house of you, rather I buy the benefit of the house. So then, I'm just trying to give you the gist of the depth of this topic, then we'll talk about it. Then he argued that, okay, the benefit of that house is not something that you can grab in your hand or with your hand. So how you want to buy it? It's in the future. How you can buy the future, you know? He was talking about that. And then he said his idea and opinion is lending is buying the benefit or buying the house to benefit of it. So lending is buying the house to benefit of it, not to sell it, not to own it, to use it. So he said there's no fundamental difference between lending and buying, which I'm not sure, to be honest, at this stage, and I don't think it's right.
When you say lending, do you mean like I'm borrowing?
Yes, it's not, the difference between borrowing and lending is borrowing, there is no money in it. So you can borrow my phone and you can use it. With the amana, and if I give it to you as amana, you're not allowed to use it. But if I give it to you as ariya, and you borrow that, you can borrow my car off me. But sometimes I give you my car as amana, you're not allowed to use it. But as ariya, if I borrow my car to you, and you borrow my car off me, you're allowed to use it. It's different from ijara. Ijara is renting something, is something else. You're paying for what you rent. So renting, lending is different from renting?
Yes.
Really? Yeah. What is the difference?
My understanding of lending is like someone giving you a loan of something, like when you take a loan,
Okay.
home loan, that's
Okay.
bank lending
Okay.
us money.
Okay, because we use that phrase when you give yourself. So I was translating the Arabic phrase. So leasing, yes, yeah, leasing, yeah. So what is the difference between leasing and selling? Probably it's not that. It's not that you are buying something to use. No. It differs from buying and selling fundamentally. It's different. It's another trading. So it's not buying and selling, it's something else. Something else. So what is it? I was thinking of it, and then I saw what Ayatollah Sistani said. Probably he's more accurate than me. I was thinking of buying the right to use the house. So again, I think I was wrong. It's not buying. It's trading on benefits. This is what Sayyid Sistani says. Al-mu'awadatu ala al-manfa'a. And it's not only how we explain or what we think about leasing, because how we define leasing might affect too many ahkam in the future. You know, so if leasing is like selling and buying, then all ahkam sells and buys would be applied on it as well. And apparently it's not the same. It's different. It's different, totally different. Anyway, so Allah talks about that in Quran, at least in one place, or probably more. When Prophet Musa told Shu'aib, or Shu'aib told Musa, that I'm willing to marry you one of my daughters if you work for me for 8 or 10 years. And it's up to you. على أن تؤجرني نفسك 8 حجج فإن أتممت 10 فلا ضير. And Prophet Moses accepted. So here, what happened here? So it's another topic. Now we go from this topic to dowry. Are you allowed to, what do you say? Lease yourself? Lease yourself, is that correct? It's not used, I haven't heard about it.
I don't know, yeah, I think that's the closest.
Yeah.
Closest you could.
Yeah. To be a worker.
Yeah.
Of somebody, to work for him. I don't think it's used in English language that to lease yourself, yeah. To work for him, to work for him.
Is it,
And consider that as a dowry or not.
so do you know when it comes to, what was the term for leasing in Arabic?
Ijara.
Ijara.
Yeah.
Isn't that also for having an employee?
Yes, all of that.
It
Yeah,
all falls under
yeah,
that?
all of that. Yeah.
Okay.
So, are we allowed? Okay, I'm marrying you, and what I can give you as a dowry and meher, that I will work for you for 2 years. As Prophet Moses said. Imam Sadiq said, no, you can't. Because Musa knew that he would be able to work for 8 years or 10 years. He knew that he would stay alive, but you don't have a guarantee. So definitely we cannot say something like that because we have a narration. Okay, as a dowry, I cannot tell you, okay, if you have a land, I'm gonna marry you, I'm gonna work for you for 10 years as a dowry because I don't have a guarantee. So probably I can't say that. And that's why I think in some countries such as Iran, when somebody puts the mahriya very high dowry, let's say, I don't know, 10,000 golden coin, they say, okay, no, we're not going to accept that. We're not going to accept that because you won't be able to give 10,000 coin. So you have to be reasonable. Probably it's because of such narrations. I don't know. So anyway, however, scholars say you can, in dowries, you can say, okay, I'm going to teach you Quran. How to recite Quran. That's okay. It doesn't have to be money. And Ayatollah Sistani says it should be something that people accept it as a something that can bring money. يعني له المالية. So teaching Quran, yes. Or teaching, let's say teaching in general. You can gain money of teaching, can't you? So you can make that as a dowry. Put that as a dowry, okay. Teaching in your school for free. She has a school, I'm going to teach in your school for free for, let's say, 1 year. That's okay, no problem. No problem with that. Anyway, so you can see, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah, hayyakumullah. You can see how things are related. So from buying, selling, to leasing, to dowry, to, and etc. And as we said, Quran and Ahlul Bayt, Quran and Prophets of Allah, are not here to invent terminology to us. Rather, they are here to tell us how to live. So leasing and buying was there. And Allah gave us the sophisticated mind, aql, intellect, so we can understand and do things, and no problem with that. And that's why scholars nowadays say if something new comes, such as aqdul insurance. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. Taqabballahu amalakum sayyidana. Aqdul insurance. Insurance, is it the contract of insurance? Are you allowed to insure your car or not? Yes. There were no insurance back then in the era of Ahlul Bayt. So what? Doesn't have to be. While people admire that and respect that, it will be accepted. And this is exactly what's going to happen with the cryptocurrency, I think. So cryptocurrency is not fully accepted so far. I think South Koreans and Israel and some other countries ban it. But in the future, if it becomes something realistic, not like gambling, nowadays more like gambling. I can remember when the corona started at 2000, probably the beginning of 2020, the price of Bitcoin dropped to, I think, $2,000, something like that. I can remember. Yeah, $2,000. And people, some people said, that's it, this is the end of it. Yani it's gonna, and now it's more than 100,000, something? 140, huh? Yeah. So it's crazy. So this is like gambling. That's why our scholars, most of our scholars, have strong stance against it. Most of our scholars. From Sayyid Sistani, Shaykh al-Wahid says, batil and haram. But the question that he was asked would give this the answer of Shaykh al-Wahid. Because they say something, you don't know what you are buying, on what's going to happen. So a very vague question, to be honest. But Sayyid Sistani says, al-ahwat wujuban. Well, my uncle says it's okay. Ayatollah Sayyid al-Mudarrisi says it's okay. But me personally, I don't know. But if it's rational, probably by time it would be considered as rational, trading, rational. It's not like gambling, then yes, no problem. Islam won't have any problem with it. In Sydney, we have, probably here as well, you can lease a house for 99 years. That's why you buy the house much cheaper. So if you want to buy it, it's, let's say, 1 million. But if you go, so it's not yours. You're leasing it for 100 years, or 99 years, to be honest. I don't know why 99 years. But it's not yours, okay? Are you allowed? Yes. If you buy a house, okay, I buy this house, all Mondays of that house. Let's say I buy a house in Queensland, on the coast. Every Monday, it's mine. Every Tuesday, it's yours. Every Wednesday, it's yours. What about that? How? And they say it's buying and selling. Is it buying and selling, or it's, I don't know, it's leasing? They say it's buying and selling. So what's wrong with that? If rational people accept that, Islam won't have any problem with it. So can I sell? Yes, you can sell your share Monday. You cannot sell the Wednesday. Or Sunday is more expensive, yes. So it's all about rationality and how people accept that or reject it.
So I have a question. So let's say you own a house, and then you rent it out for a week. Does that mean that person is buying the ownership of the house for that 1 week?
This is exactly what Sayyid al-Rouhani says, but I said no. What I said Sayyid Sistan says more accurate, explains better the essence of leasing. It's a specific trade on benefit, not the principle. Yes, I'm actually trading on what? The benefit, the sukna, living in that house for a week time. Even if you are the owner, you cannot take it off me.
That's what I mean.
Yeah, you can't. But you can sell your house, no problem. It's going to go to somebody else, but that person has to respect the previous contract.
But if someone, like, for example, is staying at my house.
Yeah, you can sue him.
No, but that person, that's staying.
If you stay?
They have a higher authority than me during that period, correct?
Okay.
Isn't that what it is?
How? So tell me again.
Like, for example.
Yeah.
You give him a room, for example. You've got 3 bedrooms.
Yeah.
Okay.
One room I've leased out to Ahmed.
Okay.
So Ahmed technically has more authority over that room, more ownership over that room than I do.
It's not ownership.
Or
He
right.
can use it. Ownership, authority, yes. Authority is different to ownership.
Yeah.
Right to use it, yes. It's different. Right to use is different from ownership. Because if you have the right to use, you're not allowed to what? To sell the principal. And that's why there is another mas'ala, it's been mentioned in our narrations. Okay, can I rent the house of you and then rent it to somebody else? Sorry?
Subletting.
You're not allowed. Unless if you do something to the house. You change something in the house. And we have that in narration, and scholars have fatwa on that as well. So for instance, I rent the house of you and I establish a swimming pool in it. Then I give it as a rent to somebody else to gain more money. That's okay.
Assuming the original owner agrees.
Yeah. The other thing, can I take salat to pray salat for 1 year? So I'm going to be ajir, work for you to pray on behalf of one of the deceased people for 1 year. Okay, I take $1,000 of you and give it to somebody else who's about to die out of hunger. Okay, this $200, and he needs that $200. Go on and pray. Can I do that? Scholars say no, you can't. Why I can't? They say, unless if you do some of it. Because Islam wants to stop the door of abuse. You know?
But does that mean subcontracting is questionable?
Yes,
Why?
it is.
How?
Not even in business and stuff like that.
Yeah, that's the thing. So if I rent the house, the shop of you,
No, but today, like.
I'm not allowed to rent it to somebody else to gain more money. The same money, probably no problem with the same money. So 1,000 per week, 1,000 per week. But I cannot take it off you, 1,000 per week, and give it, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. Give it to somebody
You
else.
rent another section now. For example, you rent my house,
Yeah.
and then you also rent a room for someone else. That's okay. Yeah.
It should be okay then. Yeah.
That's much more.
But probably you can't take more money.
Not more money. No, but you divide it between like
Yeah,
the room. If
yeah.
someone's taking a room.
So even if the owner says no problem, you're not. It's another thing. The owner let the owner say. The owner cannot change the hukum of Allah. You know, it's different. If you go to somebody who works for the government, you know, and he's your cousin, he's pleased if you want to do something, but he can't. because it's the law. He cannot change the law. Well, the owner is pleased. So even. What is the hukam says? You know?
Common sense that he can't benefit more than of the same thing.
Yeah, exactly.
What you're-
Unless if he does. And
what
Sayyid
you're paying
Sistani
for.
says, yeah, and Sayyid Sistani says, okay, you cannot just add a light and charge 1,000 more per week. It should be compatible. So establish a swimming pool, yes. Add a light, you know. I brought someone to clean up the house. That's why. No. A clean up house is $200, not more than that, for instance. But if you lease a house, take a house, okay, and you add a story on that house, yes. And you are allowed by the owner to add a story on that house. Yes, then you can give it as a land for more. So too many details. What I'm trying to say, what we can understand, let's come to a very important point. Islam, first of all, Islam wants Islam follows rationality and rational people. However, it doesn't mean that he always won't put any limitation. Okay, people eat usury and riba. Islam doesn't accept that. People do trading on what? On alcohol, pigs. Islam doesn't accept that. Okay, and that's something else. So he can put limits, but he won't invent. Rather, he will follow. And actually, with ihtikar, when you hide things so you can get higher price. Some people went to the Prophet and say, okay, they are doing ihtikar, or they are selling what they have for very, very high prices. Come and do something. The Prophet said, I'm not going to change. I'm not going to interfere in prices. Prices comes from God. I'm not going to interfere. But what he did, they used to take the yeast. The Prophet, let me give you an example. I can't remember the exact what the Prophet did, what was they are doing. The Prophet brought yeast and sold the yeast for less price. And they were forced to drop the prices. But he did not impose anything on, now you have to sell these on that price. No. He said, I'm not going to do that. Lasta alayhim bijabbar. I'm not going to force them. And I wonder when the Prophet won't force somebody on his price, how he'd be forcing somebody on his religion. Really, I don't accept that. He won't. Lasta alayhim bijabbar. La ikraha fi din. La ikraha fi din. This is the first thing. The second thing, and that's why probably one day scholars will change the verdict against cryptocurrency. When people see that's rational, you know. And I read in Australian news, I used to read that he made a bid and bought this as if he's gambling. You know, they used to see it, I'm not sure about now. They used to see people who buy, you know, especially, what do you call them? The coins that don't have that much value. It's not a very nice calling. They call them, I don't know, rubbish coin, let's say. Okay. Okay. They say he made a bid. He did a bid. Yani, it's like if he's gambling. So if it's rational, Islam will accept it. It's not riba and it's not haram, things like that. The second point that we said was Islam wants to stop any abusive actions that might affect the community, might affect the economy. That's why Islam is telling us about leasing, that you're not allowed to rent a house and rent it to somebody else with more money. You're not allowed. You're not allowed to marry like this. Okay, I marry your sister, and the mahriya that I have to give you, I give you the permission to marry my sister. This is called in Islam الزواج الشغار, and it's batil and haram.
Wait, that's a mahar?
And so the meher, for me, to give you that I allow you to marry my sister, and the meher that you give me to my sister as a dowry, it's that you're allowing me to marry your sister. This is called shagar, and they used to do it.
Isn't it because the girl you're marrying?
Because it's abusive. Exactly, it's abusive. Somebody came to the Prophet, okay, he said, okay, to Imam Salih alayhi salam, he said, okay, the mahar was, so the lady can take, let's say, this amount of gold, and her father can take that amount of gold. The Prophet said, well, the lady will take what he promised, and the father has nothing. What do you mean? You're no one. You're no one. You only have the right to give the permission. That's it. Bye-bye.
With the rent, so you're talking about like if the person's in the contract, you can't cancel it for more money, yeah? Is that what you're saying?
No, well, I'm saying that.
Subletting, I think it's called subletting.
What?
It's called subletting. So
Yeah.
like I lease out my house to you for 400 a week.
Yeah.
And then you go and lease out my house to him for 600 a week.
Oh, okay.
So
You're not
that's
allowed.
subletting.
Unless if you make real changes to the house,
You make it worth
that, yeah, worth. You make it worth that much for 600, then you would be allowed to rent it to somebody else. Even if the owner accepts you to do that, you're not allowed. It's void. It's
What
batil.
about if you made the house better, but the owner didn't want you to do that in the first place?
No, you can't.
So you can't
He can, yeah, he can, exactly. He can put
so you
a
can't
condition on you. Okay, I'm giving you this house, and don't touch it, and you're not allowed to do anything to it, and you're not allowed to rent it to anybody else, even with the same price or lesser price. You're not allowed.
And with the price control, so how would you have like,
Playing a role.
so it's not forced, so how do you have a control on it?
You bring. Imam Ali alayhi salam, in his letter to Malik al-Ashtar, he taught him, he said, merchants, take care of merchants. He talks about that. Why? He said, because then they will do everything for you. You don't need to be worried about bringing, sugar and rice. They will do that. So take care of them and give them the freedom to do. Okay, let's say they are bringing, it's monopoly, they are bringing rice, they're selling it very expensive. I'll open the way for other people to bring rice as well. So I'll break that price, those prices. And then he will be forced to drop the prices. So this is the level, because if the economic receive interference of the government, you would be ruining the economy. Exactly with the dollar prices overseas. I can see that in some countries. When the government wants to keep it, and I used to say that as the government is putting the gun on the head of the dollar, stay down. You won't. It will go up. You can't force because your currency is related to your economy. So if your economy is getting weaker, the currency would lose its value. You can't tell the dollar, your currency, stay up. It won't. So interference in the economy is wrong. Rather, if you want to interfere, you have to play it. It's politics. Politicians should be politicians. They are not economists.
But with the crypto as well, like if it's
Alaykum as-salam wa rahmatullah.
if it's you're saying it's you might say it's haram to invest in, then what's the difference in investing in a company?
Because in a crypto, you're taking nothing. What is a crypto?
I think
Take
crypto-
it, show it to me. It's not only tangible,
But it's
it's
a currency. You can use
I
it.
think
It's
that
a
the
company
problem
that
is
you're
to
investing
leave
it's
it up
like
to you.
gambling. It's like
It's
gambling.
up to you to make your own judgment. Is it gambling or not?
Because you
Because
can gamble with
there's
anything.
a whole spectrum of
But it
cryptocurrencies.
falls under the category of
Like
investing.
Bitcoin is so
Isn't it like
established right
stocks?
now that
Yeah, that's what
I don't think it's
it's
fair
like
to
investing,
say it's
yeah.
gambling to invest in Bitcoin.
Yeah,
But
'cause
if you're investing in like NFTs, for example, one would
Yeah.
say that's pure gambling. Like there's no utility to it. You can't predict if it's
There's no
going to be.
substance.
So there's a spectrum.
A
So I
crypto
think
is
it's up to you to do your own research and determine, is this something like
It's
being-
not. It should be. It's not about that. It should be considered as rational trading by the vast majority of people.
Yeah.
Then Islam will say, okay, as long as you consider it rational, I don't have any problem with that.
Worldwide or in your country? But
Worldwide,
yeah,
worldwide.
it is kind of.
Is
So-
that for example?
But apparently,
How you get a survey, bro?
no, it's
It is
different.
worldwide.
Lana, let me tell you something.
Because
It's
people
different.
accept it now as a form of payment.
It's different.
Yeah, like it's much more established now. Because
Yeah,
Uh, They mentioned that in qimar, for instance. They say some people use that as qimar, okay, qimar instrument in some countries and not in other countries. So some scholars say it should be not used as qimar instrument in all countries. So it depends again on the opinion of that scholar. So yes, if it's not considered as gambling in this country, if you follow those scholars who say that if it's not considered as gambling at your space, that's okay.
So there's different opinions.
Yeah, different opinion, of course, different opinion.
So is that similar to like gold?
Gold?
Yeah.
What is
You
gold?
know, gold, like today.
Yeah.
Like it has a certain value that people basically put money into gold and they to hold their money.
No, it's different. It's different.
No,
The
that's
problem with the
tangible.
cryptocurrency, it's nothing.
That is
It's
tangible.
tangible as well. You can hold it.
True.
صلى اللهم على محمد وآله الطاهرين.